Don't call it a duetto around an Alfa Romeo guy because he'll freak out.
I bought it on eBay. It was a salvage.
The 993, last of the air-cooled.
The car is cool AF, as the kids say. Looks like a little piece of fuel hose around the headlight opening. This front fender, again, the paint color and texture is different. Typically, a salvage title cuts the value of anything in half. I can't get to that number. This is as nice as you can expect any 993 to be.
Yes, that blows me away.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Colin.
How you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for bringing your car out.
Absolutely.
What year is it?
It's a 69.
Okay.
So it has the 1750 engine in it.
So it's a round tail Alfa Spider here, not a duetto.
Right.
Right, okay. And to cut to the chase, you know why you're here. You've foolishly agreed to let me look over your car and do an appraisal of it and maybe help educate people on the way. Is it okay if I open it up and start it and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, all right.
I left the keys in the ignition.
Awesome.
It's all yours.
One of the first things I think we need to discuss about this particular car, a lot of people will call this a duetto Spider. That's not correct. The duetto Spider was 1966, 67, 68. In 1969, when they added a 1750cc engine to the duetto Spider, it became the round tail Spider. So in the US, they got a 1750cc engine with Spica mechanical fuel injection, and they're no longer called the duetto. They look almost identical in every regard, except don't call it a duetto around an Alfa Romeo guy because he'll freak out. The difference with a duetto or a round tail is in the back. The back of the car is rounded off. When the duetto and round tail Spiders stopped production in 1970, this became a cam tail that everybody's used to seeing on the later Alfa Spiders. Now granted, there are people that like the cam tail, the later cam tail cars more. It's all personal preference. But to me, I've always been a duetto or round tail guy. It's just a gorgeous looking car. So I've done my initial walk around of Rick's 1969 Alfa Spider, and here are a few things that jumped out at me. So it has this little bump on the nose here, which is important because many of these duettos and round tail Spiders, when they get hit in the nose, they get repaired and this bump gets removed. The surround on the headlights should have a chrome ring around the headlight. What it has in here looks like a little piece of fuel hose or something around the headlight opening. Now the door gaps, panel gaps are all good, but what I did see when I poked underneath here is the rocker panels have had some rust repair. They appear to be really nice original rocker panels, but they've had some rot repair at the front and back on both sides. The jacking points are still solid and sound. Just a little unevenness, a little body filler hanging under the edge here. So I know some work's been done in here and towards the front. I'm gonna take a quick look in the trunk and show you a couple things in there that I noticed. I did notice it has a little bump here and a little crack in the unibody. The bumper mount is right in line with this. So I assume at some point the bumper was tapped and it pushed this in a little bit and it cracked it, but it didn't get into the fuel tank. Let's take a look under the hood and see what's going on under there. Now, as I mentioned before, 1969 was a year of change for the Alfa Spider. They went from a 1600cc engine to this 1750cc engine, but it also gained this mechanical fuel injection by Spica. The Spica mechanical injection is misunderstood by mechanics and owners alike, but once they're set up properly, it's really a revolutionary thing. It's very similar to mechanical fuel injection on a diesel car or what Mercedes used on the 300 SLs and all that. So it's nice to see that this car still retains it because in period, a lot of guys would take the fuel injection off and throw it away and put Weber carburetors on it because they just simply didn't understand how to keep a Spica car running. Another unique feature of these cars are the double brake boosters. These can often be problematic. These look like they've been rebuilt and everything is in place, so I assume everything's in good working order. A couple other things I did notice under the hood here, there has been electronic ignition added to it, and the other thing I noticed was that the battery on this particular car has been moved from where it left the factory, which would be right here, to the trunk. Now on the inside of Rick's car, other than the cloth inserts that he had installed in the original seats and this leather steering wheel wrap, I don't see anything that's out of place or not original. Everything's nice and clean and tidy. The gauges are all correct and original and clear. Everything seems to function as it should, and it all looks really nice. But with any sports car, you want to hear it run. So with a Spica injected car, it's not like a Weber carburetor car. There's no choke, everything's automatic, so you should just be able to turn the key and have it start. And there it goes. One of the Achilles heels of the Alfa Romeo engine is sometimes they'll have low oil pressure. That isn't the case with this one. It's ticking over at idle with 57 pounds of indicated oil pressure, so that's good. I like the way it sounds. The Spica fuel injection seems to be set up really nicely. It started well, it idles well, so all good. So I finished doing my walk around and appraisal of Rick's Alfa. I've looked the car over really well, and using the Hagerty Valuation Tools condition guide, I would call this a number 3 or number 3 minus condition car. It has some body and paint work that's been done. It has a few updates and modifications. It has aftermarket wheels, the battery's been moved, a couple little detail differences, but overall, it's a really, really nice car that's been driven and enjoyed. If this car were a perfect 1969 Alfa Romeo round-tail Spider, we'd be talking about a whole different game, because very few of those exist. But I know what I think this number 3 example is worth, and we're gonna call Rick back in and tell him and see what he thinks. Hey Rick, welcome back. Let me ask you, you've owned the car for a number of years, 14 years now. Right. You've clearly enjoyed it. What do you think it's worth?
Well, because it's mechanically really sound, I think it's probably worth something in the mid-30s. It has some cosmetic things that might need some attention, but I think it's in that range.
The way it sits right now, I can't get to that 35-ish number, but I think it's low 30s. I think it's 30, 32,000, somewhere in there.
Sure. Now
that said, I think with a little TLC and a little sprucing up, I definitely think you can get there. But I love the car. I love that you use it. I love that you've had it for a long time, and I really appreciate you bringing her out.
Well, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Keep enjoying it.
Alrighty. You know, these were only made for 3 years. They came to the United States. There's not a whole lot of them around. They're just, you know, solid, fun cars, and I enjoy it. Every time I go get in it, I have a smile. So why would you want to part with it?
Hey, George.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Very well.
You brought us a hot rod.
It is a hot rod.
What's the story?
I bought it online on eBay, sight unseen. It was a salvage.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been a great car. It's just a hot rod. I love it, you know.
And you know why you're here today. You've somehow foolishly agreed to let me look at your car and tell you what I think it's worth, which is the most personal thing anybody can do with another guy's car, right?
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay, see you in a little bit.
All right.
So I've done my initial inspection and walk around of George's Viper. And as he noted, when he purchased the car, it had been in an accident and had a salvage title as a result. I found exactly where that damage was and how extensive it is. So let's take a look and I'll show you what I saw. So George said the airbags were deployed and it needed a headlight, and I can see it was hit in this right front corner. You can still see some damage on this front cross member here. The air conditioning condenser is bent, and I can see a little bit of repair to this right front frame rail here. Now that makes sense that the airbag would deploy because there's airbag sensors up in this area. I can also see this front bumper cover has been replaced. The hood's been replaced, and I believe this fender has either been repaired or replaced. The way I can tell that the bumper, the hood, and the fender have been replaced, repaired, repainted is not only the color is a little bit different, but the texture of the paint itself is different. The orange peel doesn't match. I can also see that the hood has none of the original decals that it would have when it left Chrysler. This front fender, again, the paint color and texture is different. If you walk back here, you can see there's a color difference in between the door and the fender. Again, that little difference in orange peel texture, you can see the orange peel in here, and this is more flat. The factory paint is more flat. The rest of the car, despite being used and driven and raced, it's, you know, a little dirty. It has some little scuffs here and there. In the car business, it's what we would call a detail away from being nice. So there's one thing about a Viper that also leads to a very common occurrence. They're tough to get in and out of. They have this high sill over the exhaust on the side pipes. So this car shows what you see on a lot of Vipers, where your feet get dragged across the sill going in and out of the car. So a good buff and polish would take care of all that. Just more signs that the car has been used and enjoyed. But that's a detraction from its value the way it sits. Other than that, I mean, the decals, if you don't like the decals, they come off. The car's really nice. The windshield's nice. The interior for being used and enjoyed, it's in great shape, and nothing a good cleaning and a little TLC wouldn't take care of. So let's talk about some of the modifications on this car. I do see it has aftermarket exhaust headers on it. While I can't get into the side pods and see the actual exhaust, George did mention it has a custom aftermarket exhaust, and you can hear it when it runs as well. Obviously it's been tuned, a few other little modifications that we can't see. Again, it's clearly been modified and upgraded. He said it has an upgraded clutch. It also has these added roll bars, which shows that it was built to use at speed or on tracks and in competition. I also see it has the full seatbelt harnesses that are anchored into the chassis, so it has a full 4-point harness instead of the factory 3-point belt, so when you go on the track, you would use this. Other than that, the seat is lowered. You want to be under the height of the roll bar with a helmet, so clearly somebody figured that out. They dropped the seat down. If you're sitting here and you're a tall guy like George, your helmet is gonna be under the roll bar height. You're good to go on the track. All right, well now I'm gonna hop in here and see what the inside's all about. I do like this lowered seat position. Obviously, if it were at the factory height, my line of sight would be right into the sun visor. So ergonomics in a Viper have never been their strong suit. That said, George left me the key, so I'm gonna start it up and hear what that custom exhaust sounds like. Sounds pretty good. I'm a car guy. I like fast cars. I like loud cars. I like everything that just happened there. That exhaust is rowdy. I like it. It's pretty damn cool. So I've finished with my appraisal on George's 2008 Viper Roadster. I've walked around the car, I've looked at it. On the Hagerty Valuation Tools condition rating scale, I would call this a number 3. It needs a little detailing, you know, it needs $500 and a day in a detail shop, but as a basic condition, it's a number 3. However, what we're dealing with here is we have some variables that don't factor into the ultimate condition. We have a salvage title with some accident history. We have some paintwork that resulted from that. And we also have a host of modifications. Balancing some of that stuff out would be the fact that the car has some really cool history. It's run the One Lap of America 3 times. It's been successful in that. So today, you have people that want to buy a turnkey car to go use it and drive it and have fun with it. They might not care, like George doesn't care, that it had this little bump in the front when it was almost new. I've done my appraisal. I know what I think it's worth. We're gonna call George back in here and see if our numbers agree or if we're gonna have a little disagreement. See what happens. All right, George, you ready for this?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Well, I checked out your car, as you know.
Yeah.
And it's a cool car. I like it. It's the way I'd want a Viper, you know, a little hot rodded up and ready to rock. But let me ask you this. What do you think it's worth right now?
To me, it's worth 50. You know, would I take 50 for it? No, I don't want to sell it.
Yeah. Now, typically a salvage title cuts the value of anything in half.
Yes.
But the interesting equation is that the older a car gets, the lower the price gets, and the less a salvage title kind of means.
Yeah.
My number doesn't agree with your number, but again, I'm not personally invested in the car like you are. But I think today that this car is worth $45,000.
I think that's very fair. Thanks for your work.
Yeah, and try not to use the roll bars, all right?
I haven't. It's just keeps my buddy in place, and he makes me a kinder, gentler person. That's why I leave him there.
Maybe you should buy another one.
I've had a lot of cars, but all of them have been unusual. You know, I like odd things, and that's why it's the Viper.
Hey, Carrie.
Hi.
How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Awesome. Man, I gotta tell you, I think you just made my day. I mean, look at this thing.
It's the 993. Last of the air-cooled.
Is this the original color for this car?
No, it's not the original color. I believe it was silver.
Okay.
At one time.
So it's a full custom build.
It's a full strip down. They stripped down the metal and everything. It was complete custom, so.
Well, it's awesome. You know why you're here. You're allowing me to look your car over, give it a good appraisal, and then tell you what I think and see if you're gonna be happy or sad.
Either way, I'll be happy.
Yeah, you're the right kind of guy to get an appraisal then.
Yeah, exactly.
If I can't make you mad, you know,
you can't make me mad no matter
what point is it? So I've done my condition inspection of Carrie's 993 Porsche, which was originally a twin-turbo all-wheel drive 993 and is now a GT2 style two-wheel drive hot rod Porsche 993. All I can say is that the condition of the car is awesome. There's nothing I can really point out as a flaw on the car. The quality of workmanship is off the charts. Inside, underneath, outside, it was done to an incredibly high standard. The car shows 83,000 miles on the odometer, but I assume not many of those were since the conversion was completed. The build, again, is just impressive. Everywhere you look on the car, no detail's been overlooked. If I want to get picky, there are certain things I could pick on. For example, there's some brake dust on the wheels. On the inside, you know, somebody sat in it, but I think I could fix that with a vacuum cleaner in about 5 minutes worth of time. Now remember, this is a full custom build. It was a color change. It wasn't born this color. But if you didn't know that, you couldn't tell. Every part of the body tub of the car is absolutely perfect. It looks like it was painted by Porsche. Every nut and bolt was taken off as far as I can tell. Everywhere on the car. The door panel fit, the seats, everything's fantastic. So we'll walk around, I'll open the engine compartment, because even under here, the car is cool AF, as the kids say. Now this is the difference between a home-built hot rod and a professional Porsche shop with Porsche specialists that build a hot rod where cost is no object. This is about as nice as you could expect a full custom build to be in the real world. You look at how the paint was done around all the decals. You look at the intercooler, it's body color matched. Everywhere you look, the grommets, the fittings, the hinges, the latches, they're all done to Porsche specification. It looks like it was done at the factory, and that's the highest compliment I can give any custom build by the aftermarket. The car has these speed yellow calipers, it has forged wheels, but one of the coolest aspects, as cool as the outside of the car is this interior. You look at this matching Mexico blue tartan plaid wool on the inside, and yes, it's wool. It's not just some kind of goofy, cheap fabric. Everything is super high quality. There's no wear and tear inside. The door panels, again, fit perfectly. The door jambs are perfect. The Federal VIN decal is perfect. I mean, it has the sport seats with the painted backs. It has blue seat belts. They did not overlook any details on this build, and that is what blows me away. This car feels Porsche level. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The car just was done right, and being done right is where the value is. It starts and runs like something Porsche would do. The air conditioning is blowing cold, it idles nice and smooth, the gauges all came to life. It's telling me it's low on washer fluid, which that doesn't really bother me because washer fluid is cheap. The clutch feel is OE, the brake pedal is firm, the shifter feels nice. It's like a new car, which is impressive considering that somebody took it down to a bare tub and redid everything. Now let's take a look in the front. Again, this is a color change car. I've looked in the door jambs, I've looked in the engine compartment. Let's see how they did the color change under here. If somebody is sloppy or lazy, they typically won't do that great of a job in the places people won't readily see. Here, no such thing is true. You can see just by peeling back the carpet, the paint on the inside, the areas you do not see, is as nice as it is on the outside. Another hallmark of a quality build. Even under the hood, the paint is what I would call production level or better quality. This looks like, again, a factory built car. We know it's not, but this is where the quality shines through. So obviously, this car is in exceptional condition. There are no flaws to speak of. On the Hagerty Valuation Tool condition rating chart, I would call this a number 2, and that's only because a number 1 car is a car that's never been driven. Carrie's 993, if you give it a nice bath, in a day of detailing is a strong number 2. There's nothing that detracts from its overall condition. It's never gonna be a concourse car, which is a number 1 because it's driven. It was made to be driven. You don't build a car like this to sit there and dust the damn thing. So yes, this is as nice as you can expect any 993 to be. Once I'm done crunching my numbers, we're gonna go pull Carrie out here and hopefully I have a nice surprise for him. Hey, Carrie.
Hi.
I've gone over your car, done my
Okay.
appraisal. Before we get into that bit of news, I wanna ask you, what do you think it's worth?
Probably, I'm hoping 150, probably.
Well, it's in damn near perfect condition. I mean, you've taken good care of it, so it's impressive. So
Well, thank you.
I like your number. You know,
Yeah.
I think in the hundreds is a nice number for an old Porsche, but I think
Right.
yours is worth a little bit more. I think today, the way things are going,
Yeah.
today's market, I think this car, this impressively built 993, I think it's worth $250,000 to $275,000.
Yes. Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Now is it for sale?
Yeah.
Now can we talk about
We'll
it?
see. No,
Yeah.
but I still would really like to keep it for, you know, the rest of my life. But, you know, anything pretty much has a price tag on it. So,
Well,
but that's awesome. That's
it's a wicked
really,
car.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The color and the quality and it just got the look. You know, it's got
That-
that special thing you can't put your finger on. So.
That blows me away, Colin.
Well, good. That's what
Yeah,
that's
that's
what we try
awesome.
to do. It's nice to every once in a while blow somebody away. So
yeah, definitely.
thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for bringing it. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Take care.
This car is my favorite car. I love this car. I think that's so cool. I never thought it'd be worth that much. I just love this car. I want to keep it the rest of my life. But, you know, as everybody says it, you know, anything's for sale. So